Rush, we are like fresh. We are fresh off the draft. Like, I mean, it's like better than like taking a shower and having like brand new deodorant off the shelf. I mean, this is like new team, feels good. So let's start from scratch. One, you're tuned in to the Giants Rush. That's the number one place to be on Mondays. Two, we're going to get your opinions. I know you guys are going to be jumping in the room. We started a minute late, so that was my bad. I got Chris. I got Alex. We're going to chop it up a little bit because we've got like a whole bunch of new guys to talk about. Of course, Wednesdays we got Rush Hour. We're moving Rush Hour, folks, from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., and we're going to talk a little bit about that later on. Let's bring in Biceps himself. Let's bring in Nails. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Craig. Bicep. Hey, Craig. Hey, everybody.
It's like I catch you off guard with a Biceps
I hate it.
Joke every single week.
I know. You do.
I know. But you love it. Come on. Listen.
It's funny. I'll take it. All right.
My man over here works out like 8 days a week, meaning that's like 7 and then like throws in an extra day somewhere. Yeah. Guy's jacked. Let's bring in Alex because one, as I was saying, Chris, a second ago, like feels good. It's like fresh. Like it's a new season. It's like the draft symbolizes like opening day in baseball, right? Mm-hmm. We're like kicking it off. We're gonna chew up like all the not only the guys we drafted, but we'll talk a little UDFA. We'll talk about some rosters, and let's bring in like the new. Speaking of fresh, let's bring in a fresh face. Bang! What's up, Alex?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah, dude. Like, so this is the Big Dog Show, right? This is the Giants Rush. So you did a little spot, I think, with Rush Hour, and now since we know you a little bit better, we had to bring you on to help us chew up the post-draft show.
Yeah, man. And I was, as you were saying a little bit before, like I get so sick of like mock draft season after a while. Like I'm so happy that we're talking about guys that we have now and not guys that like maybe we're going to have in a week or 2 weeks. Like it's cool to be like, all right, well, this is who we got. How's that going to go?
Yeah, 100%. Like Chris will tell you, we don't even do mock drafts. Like I'm almost at the point where, and forgive me to everybody out there, I see you guys piling in the rooms and you're all be like, oh, we love mock drafts. I'm like, hey, it's cool. You're allowed to like mock drafts.
Right.
I don't see any value in them. I see zero value in them.
Craig like, mocks mock drafts.
Exactly. I mock the mock drafts. I just don't see any value. Like, what really is a mock draft? Why don't I just take a hat and put people in it and just pull them out? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, who cares if I can pick out, the best players from Georgia one round and the best players from Florida and Texas? It just doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter, right? Like, here we are post-draft. We got real bodies in the building. I'm actually going to play this for you, gentlemen, because it's fun. So check this out. This is what came out on Friday. I uploaded it for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy this.
Sup, Giants fans, let's do it. Deontay Banks here. Can't wait to get started. Go Big Blue. Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
What's up, Giants fans? Excited to join the family. Ready to get to work. Let's go.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Jalen Hyatt. Just want to thank God. Want to thank the Giants organization for bringing me in. Like I said, can't wait to get to work. Can't wait to do what I have to do. And let's get it, man. Let's do it.
New York Giants fans, how y'all doing? This is Eric Gray, newest addition to the New York Giants team, and I just want to say I'm blessed and thankful for the New York Giants organization for picking me. And I want to say I can't wait to get to New York very soon and go Big Blue.
How you doing, Giants Nation? It's your boy Trey Hawkins III here. I just want to say I'm thankful and I'm blessed to be a part of this organization. Let's get to work. Go Big Blue.
Giants Nation, man, it's Jordan Raleigh, man. I'm really excited to get to New York and get straight to work. So thankful for this opportunity. Go Big Blue.
Hey, Giants fan, I'm excited to be one of y'all's 2023 NFL draft picks. I can't wait to get down to New York and get to work. Go Big Blue.
Woo! Come on, don't that get you jacked up?
Nice.
Like new fresh faces in the room, and they just want to get to playing some ball. All right. Let's start. Should we start at the top or should we start at the bottom? Where do you want? I'm gonna let Alex, since you're new, we're gonna talk about all these guys. Where do you want to start, Alex? The top or the bottom?
I think we start at the top. Let's go to the top.
All right, let's start with the big boy. So we got DeAndre Banks from Maryland. All right, so what's cool? I'm going to ask you both what you like about him. Maybe there's something you don't like about him, or what's your overall opinion. My opinion overall doesn't matter, but because it's my show, I'm allowed to actually give an opinion. And what I like about him is that he's physical as hell, right? He seems a little goofy. He's got a pretty cool sense of humor. Like, he seems like an exciting, fun cat, right? But any tape you watch or games that you've watched, especially the Big Ten games, and I'm a Michigan State guy, so I've seen plenty of Banks whooping up on my boys. He's very physical, right? He's right in the hip pocket of receivers. He's great on bump and run, right? I think he's going to be a really good physical addition to this team. He actually reminds me, I always said he reminds me of Terrell Thomas, but he actually has a little of Dory Jackson in him too, like, because he's very nimble for a muscular dude. Chris, start with you.
Yeah.
Bring it to me. What was your opinion? As the draft went on, we were all on air together, streaming live. It was like we were kind of excited. We were like, wow, we might actually get this guy. So where are you now that it's sunk in 3 days later that we've probably got the third best, corner, in college football?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with him coming to the Giants. I mean, he fits Wink's, system, I think, perfectly. I mean, he's in your face, physical, not afraid of contact. He's just, the one thing maybe you have to watch is he hadn't had a lot of interceptions, but he hasn't had a lot of opportunities either. I think he only gave up like 43 yards was max last year, or at Maryland. So he maybe hasn't had a lot of opportunities to get interceptions, but I think the physicality, he loves press man, he loves to go one-on-one. He's played more of that than probably zone. So I think he fits right into the system, and he's going to be a big piece to this defense and fits it perfectly what Wink wants to do. We didn't need a zone guy. We need a man guy, and this is the guy.
I gotta tell you, didn't really think Banks would be there, but then once you got him, you just started thinking wow, he's a first. He's not only is he a first day starter, Alex, but I think he puts a little swag in the defense. No.
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, he's walking in at CB2, probably heading in opposite of Dory, and then eventually he's going to be our cornerback one of the future. But yeah, I really like everything that comes in. He is a true press corner, so Wink's going to love that. The only issue I had with him was that he did, out of the top 4 corners in Kuiper's rankings, he had the most penalties out of all of them. He does. I think we're going to have a lot of there may be some growing pains where we're seeing some holding calls or some illegal contact or some PIs. But I mean, if he's a truly good corner like they thought they had, and they can work with him, then he's going to be able to overcome that. That was my only real issue with him, because he's got just about everything else.
Yeah, and Alex, to your point, Porter was still on the board, and he's got some similar issues too, probably even more so, right? With the grabbing. Mm-hmm. So I think we probably got the lesser of the two.
Absolutely.
In terms of, the grabbing.
I think Deontay's got a lot of opportunity to grow too, because he's a younger dude, right? He's not on the older side. Some of these cats, that come in, they're already 23, right? I mean, he's definitely on the younger side. So to your point, Alex, is there'll be some growing pains because he's just a younger guy. But that stuff that they'll be able to, once he figures out what kind of technique he wants to apply, I think well, one, Wink's going to love him. As you said, Chris, Wink's going to love him, fits right in. But again, the defense is very young, right? We've got a lot of young players, and we really don't have an identity, right, to this defense, right? We're not pass rush heavy. We're not linebacker right? And Deontay comes in with this, I don't know, this swag that I think some of the younger guys will pick up on, which is cool, because right now the defense doesn't have that identity, right? So I think and he seems like a pretty fun-loving guy. You know what I mean? He's got a great attitude. It looks like he wants to have some fun. So I'm excited to have him, especially when, again, you look at the Big Ten. They got a lot of guys that can play ball, right? I know it's not the SEC, but I'm okay with some of them Big Ten receivers that he has to face on a regular basis. So anything you guys outside of the holding calls, anything maybe Maryland's not a great football team. Like, I mean, they've never been a great football team. Does that bother either one of you that Maryland's not the most competitive team, in the Big Ten? Does that bother either one of you guys? Chris?
Yeah, I think it actually can be a positive because he's not surrounded by all these great All-Americans. For him to go in the first round just shows you what kind of an athlete he is to stick out and do what he did the last 3 years because he doesn't have the supporting cast. So I think that's impressive.
Okay, I like that. It's a really good point. Kind of like he could have got, if he wasn't good enough, he kind of would have got buried and kind of fell into the background, right? But on a bad team, he still said, "Hey, I'm still balling, right, Alex? I'm still getting it done on an average team."
No, I absolutely agree 100% with what Chris just said there. He had to kind of show off more that, like, okay, I'm not just somebody that's at a Maryland that's not winning a bunch of games, but like, look at me, I should be in the first round. And I mean, I honestly I trust Shane and the entire front office. Like it does, like you were saying, we were making a splash last year. Like, I feel like we just hadn't seen drafting that was good in so long. So we're like, wow, what is this? And like this year we're like, okay, it's stable. But it's like, after seeing what they kind of did with the roster, they kind of overhauled a roster that they didn't really get to do with more than just one draft last year, with like bringing in Hodgins and all those guys. Like just seeing what he's doing right there. Like, I just trust whatever his instincts are. I'm just going to go with Shane. So Shane's like, this is our guy we need to bring in. He's nailing it. A+ pick, future Hall of Famer.
You know what's funny too? That like sometimes you get a GM. It's on a totally, like, the coach and the GM have to kind of grow together and figure out what they want. These cats already know each other, right? Like, these guys are like freaking frack. They're probably best friends for all we know, right? I mean, these guys seem.
It looked like it. They were hugging.
It looked like it, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that goes a long way. Like, they literally are sharing a vision. Okay, I'm using that. As my West Coast friend, Allison had said, all about the vision. And she's right. There is a vision. They know what they want. They're going to go get it. And they're bringing in those players where we want this, we want that. Yep. They have a vision, right? Yep. And as they go through their Giants tenure, even though we think we know what they want, we really don't. But as they go, we're starting to go along and figure out what their vision is. And then we could jump on board. We know in the 80s, it was about defense. And then Jerry Reese went a little bit more of specialty guys, right? Like, this feels like the head coach and the GM have a real kick-ass relationship, which is awesome for us, right? Because we're going to win more games. We're going to be super competitive. All right. How about this one was kind of like almost was like the most boring pick of the draft, but probably the anchor of the draft, right? So second round, you bring in John Michael Schmidt, which is like basically a drinking song, like from Minnesota. Depending on what rankings you're looking at, he's either number one or the number two best center in college football, right? Unless some of you guys like what was it, Tippmann?
Tippmann, yeah.
So what's super cool about this guy is like he's all business, right? Like he looks like he can go be on Wall Street, right? He's just got clean shaven. He's ready to go. He's like, yes, sir, coach, shake your hand. Like this guy is coming to just be the next Bart Oates or the next Sean O'Hara or whatever it may be. And I just really excited about that because we really, Chris, you've been killing me, not in a good way, you've been killing me about, man, let's just draft a center. Don't convert anybody. Just draft me a center. So, throwing it back to you, Chris, like, were you surprised that he was still there? And then once they got him, like, were you like, that was exactly where we needed a center in the second?
I was absolutely surprised he was still there at 57 in the second round that late. What I like about Schmitz, this guy's going to be our future captain. I'm telling you right now, you're going to have Jones as the captain. You're going to have Schmitz once Barkley moves on, if that happens. He was a captain at Minnesota. He has all the leadership qualities that you hear about when you're hearing about this guy in Minnesota. He's nasty. He's obviously big, but he's a details. But you can just tell, and people that you've talked to that have been, quoted, coaches, he's a leader. He's a born leader. He's going to be a rookie, so he may not be a leader right off the bat. But after this year, he's going to be looked upon as one of those leaders on the offense. And here's a name for you, Brian Williams, who was drafted number I want to say it was number 8 in 1989 with the Giants. He was a center for the Giants for 10 years, also out of the University of Minnesota. Very similar. 6'4" at the time, 305, and here's Schmitz 6'3", 305 or 301. So it's just ironic that we get a center from Minnesota, and Brian Williams was, guys our age, Craig and I remember, a hell of a center.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
before centers actually anybody knew centers were on the team. They were just like, that guy who snaps the ball. Because nobody, because like as old as we are, Chris, like nobody, and I'm older than you, nobody even, they were like, I don't know who that guy is. The guy that bends over and snaps the ball to Phil Simms, that guy. Like, nobody really knew. Now it's like, they're overanalyzed, to the 10th degree.
Yep.
There's also, Chris, to your point is, I was reading it. If you get a chance, go to Giants.com. There's also an article on there how he has a connection to Sean O'Hara.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Now, I could probably look it up on my phone because I'm unprepared, right? This, again, I'm a little off, right? Because we were on air for like 9 hours last week streaming, but there is a connection with O'Hara. I'm sure you guys, in the chat can look it up for me. It's on Giants.com. I saw it there today. But there is some type of, well, first of all, they both wear 60. Okay. They both wear the number 60, but that's really not the connection. There's some type of history between these two that go way back. So you guys can all have fun and look that up.
Yeah, and actually, Darius just mentioned that he's been compared to Bart Oates, so that seems to be the comparison right now.
Darius, you're right, because that's the first thing I thought of is they look like the same
They
dude.
do. They got the same, right, facial.
You know what I mean? They have that same round, like just I don't know what you want to call it, this very cherubic type of giant. You know what I mean, like of a man. So yeah, I can see a little bit of that. How about you, Alex? Second round comes where you like, oh, just give me the receiver. And then they get a center and you're like, oh, or were you like, yes, finally a center.
And that was a glaring hole we had on our team. So I thought like I had seen in some of the mocks that like he was going to us in the first round. So him being to us in the second round was a gift. And then I do the thing that I feel like a lot of people do is you like, okay, let me go just watch film on this guy and you YouTube him. And you watch his highlights, and it's just him blowing dudes up. And I was like, all right, like I'm all aboard this. Like let's hop on, let's go. Center of the future for sure. I think he could end up being absolutely like the best pick in the entire draft from like for us out of this draft. We're gonna be like, oh, that was the one where we got JMS and kind of turn things around. And now like, do we kind of have an offensive line? It's crazy how we were talking about not having one, and it's like I think we're sort of piecing this together, guys.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And Craig, real quick, and guys, it got nerve-wracking because you saw the Jets take Tippmann, and then you were left where, okay, Schmitz, we got to get Schmitz. And then the Bears jump, and you think, oh, man, Bears are taking the center. They need offensive line help, but they didn't. He was still on the board. So, wow, I thought we were going to lose him at that point.
Yeah. No, at least again, and, Jay's in here killing us, right? It's fine, Jay. We still love you. He's killing me in the comments. Now again, one still has to come into camp and win a position, right? He's going to have to beat out Bredesen. He's going to have to beat out Anderson, and he's going to have to beat out Lemieux and what other scrub they bring in for camp.
Hassenauer will be, yeah,
that's right. So there's going to be plenty of bodies that he'll have to go against. But again, so let's not go too far. He may be a whole year away from starting, or he could be starting by game 8. Who knows? Maybe Bredesen winds up playing guard and JMS becomes the starting center. Who knows, right? We just don't know. But the good thing is that they didn't blow it off and say, well, we've got a bunch of guys that can snap, because that's what we've been doing. You know what I mean? And that's been something I've had an issue with all the way back to Matthias Kiwanuka, who's a friend of the show. We interviewed him a couple months ago. We got this great defensive end. Let's make him an outside linebacker. Wait a minute. We got someone hurt. Let's move him back to defensive end. Wouldn't it be great if he could play outside linebacker? Like, yo, you draft a guy, if he's a safety, he's a safety. You don't say nobody can play corner. No, like it doesn't work when you put a round peg in a square freaking hole. I can't stand it. Like, like every time somebody falls in love, Branch can play corner. No, we don't want him to play corner. We want him to play the position that he was drafted for, that he knows how to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
And God bless this player. I love him. He played his heart out. John Jalapeno. This all started when John Jalapeno started putting him at center, and then this is just transitioned every year to a different person.
Yeah. I'm just like, man. All right.
So these guys play hard, but it's just, they can't cut it. Some of them.
No, again, like centers are weird cats, right? They have to be the QB of the offensive line, right? You got to be the most cerebral dude on the offensive line. You got to be able to. I mean, listen, we know what I loved about what I saw, and like Alex was saying, like I didn't know much about him because, no offense, I don't watch a lot of Minnesota football, but it happens to be in the 10, so I get to watch some of it, right? Here's the thing. He gets to the second level very easily. Like he comes in, whether it's a chip, a stab, he makes his block, and he's off to the linebacker. Now, in the pros, going to be much harder to do, right? Because you're going to have 350-pound nose tackles in your face. But I love the fact he's got good footwork, and he's got his head up looking downfield, and he's popping, driving, and he's off to the second layer to say if he can spring the running back past the linebacker. Like, I like the style. You know what I mean? Like when we had like you just referenced to Chris, like P.O. and Feliciano, like these guys were really just like, hey, I'm just here trying to hold this guy up from sacking the quarterback. Okay? I'm not doing any more than I got to do. This is it. I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to try to hold that dude up. This guy's like, all right, I'm popping that guy. And by the way, buddy, I'm coming for you too.
And what a great competition between him, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, Ashawn Robinson in training camp, because they're going to see a rookie, right? They're going to want to see how tough he is. So, wow, that's going to be some good battles to get him force-fed and up to speed. It's going to definitely be a quick, I would say a quick learning curve, but there's not going to be any delay. He's going to be thrown right in there.
Alex,
and just in general, I think he's gonna. I think he gets he's gonna have that starting job by like very early in the season if he doesn't win it in camp. But like the NFC East has maybe the best group of defensive lines ever. So he's just gonna get thrown right into the fire, and it's like, all right, let's see if he can sink or swim. So he's gonna be like practicing on Sundays too, as well as practicing against our awesome defensive line when he's going up against them in practices too. So he's gonna really get to develop quickly. I think we're gonna get to see this season.
We interviewed Jack Anderson 2 weeks ago, and a lot of people didn't know that he has played center before. Like he snapped for the Eagles, he snapped in college, but and he was saying when he got to the Giants, and they would use him as the scout team center, and he was snapping against Dexter Lawrence every day, and he literally said, "What was it, Chris? Do you remember what the first thing out of his mouth was?"
No, go ahead. Remind me. What did he say?
He said, I got so much better as a player.
Right. Yes.
Because I had to go against Dexter Lawrence every day in practice.
Who wouldn't? And an independent outsider made a great point. Don't forget Nacho, the new guy from the Bucs. He's a wild man. He's crazy.
Roches,
one he'll be going up against. So it's gonna be great.
Yeah, independent outsider. I see you. Yeah, you're not behind, my friend. Go hit the Giants Rush YouTube channel. All our interviews are up there, but we did interview Jack, and it was actually a great interview. For a guy that a lot of people don't know about, Jack's a pretty cool cat. Grew up a Cowboy fan, broke that all down for us, but real good dude, and we're wishing him the best. Like we definitely think, and he said, hey, I can play guard, I can play center, I can play tackle. That's, but mostly left guard, center, right guard. I play those three spots because, he's going to be able to win a position or, win a roster spot because he can play three spots. So anyway, check that out. Let's call you IO because independent outsider is a mouthful. All right, let's keep flying through these because, we have a bunch of guys to cover. Bang. Jalen Hyatt. I'm not going to go too far on. I'm going to let you guys run this one. I'm just only going to tell you that it's definitely my favorite pick from a fan perspective. Bolitnikov award winner what do you have? 6, 7 touchdowns versus Alabama. Dude,
A million, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think he had 15 touchdowns and like 7 of them were against Alabama. Like, this dude just balls. Like, he flies. He is about speed. And it seems like he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because they say he's not a great route runner. So he's all about proving people wrong. You know, one fell to third round, which, Alex, I'm sure you're going to touch on in a minute, where he was projected. But I'm really excited about him. And we'll get into how many wide receivers that we have in the room. But Alex, what was your? Now they moved up, you know,
Right?
Or I guess
the
depending on
16
who you
spots
are,
is
they
a
moved
lot.
down, right? They moved down technically. What did you think when they traded for him?
I mean, I thought that all the trades we made, like we had with the Kadarius trade, with all the stuff that we had acquired those picks, like I thought that they did a good job of making sure we were still able to get some guys. I know some people thought that maybe that was too much, but I mean, Hyatt was going to us in certain mock drafts in the first round, and like we got all 3 of the guys that were going to us in certain mock drafts in the first round. Hyatt is like last year we had Darius Slayton that could take the top off of defense, and now we've got Campbell, we've got Hyatt. I mean, Wandale's coming back too. Like we've added like 3 or 4 guys that can also do that. So to just have to be like, all right, well, all they got to do is cover Slayton deep. Now defenses are really going to have to like change the way they approach us. And I feel like in certain games that like we lost last season, it was because we couldn't create separation. We couldn't get the top off of the defense, have those big plays that like Daniel Jones is good at doing because he's got the arm to do that with. And when Slayton and him can connect on that, that's awesome. And now having 3 or 4 guys that can do that on any given play. Can you imagine going like just 4 receivers in a set like that? And we also got Waller, so that's going to open up things too. I think that having somebody else that can take the top of a D like he can is awesome. I mean, I know he's had some issues getting off of press coverage at Tennessee, but I think they can coach that out of him. And him going in the 3rd as opposed to the 1st, I think it takes away a lot of pressure because he's not expected to be our guy. And I think a lot of people, like, if we took a receiver number 1, then it's like, all right, here you go. You're wide receiver 1 walking in. And it's like, we can still find another wide receiver number 1 eventually, but he can kind of ease into this offense.
I got to throw this comment up here because you know how funny Cold is when he says crazy ass shit. So I'm going to put Cold's comments up here. He says, more slots than Vegas. Wait, look, there are a lot of slots, but you know what? Speed is speed, right? It's gonna definitely make a difference.
You can't be too fast.
Yeah, it can never be too fast. And you know, the room, and we'll get into the room, but Paris, Shepard, Hodgins, Smith, Crowder, Sills, Slayton, Robinson, Colin Johnson, Bryce Ford, Wheaton, Pippleton, and Polk. I mean, there's some players here that are going to catch passes. We went to war, you know, with Richie James last year. Yeah. I mean, and nothing against Richie James. He played his heart out. Like, I mean, you know, like and the last couple games of the season, he really came on strong and like, you know, really worked his ass off to make a difference. So we're not even counting Waller, right? Like, well, you know, like,
yeah.
He's basically like, I don't know, Jim. What was the tight end for Seattle and New Orleans? Jimmy
Graham.
Jimmy Graham, like, you know, like Jimmy Graham, he like literally petitioned the league that he said, I'm a wide receiver. You know, I want to get paid wide receiver money. Like Waller's the same type of cat. So I'm really happy. Chris, any thoughts on Hyatt? You know, why do you think he slipped to the 3rd would be my question.
I think you heard from the combine and some of these coaches that came out that he doesn't do anything but the 9 route, the go route, and the fade. That seems to be what he does. So I think that kind of soured a lot, you know, going into the 3rd. But I give Shane credit because when you saw Tank Dell come off the board to Baltimore, he jumped right on it, knowing that we may lose Hyatt in the 3rd, and goes and grabs him. But you know what? When you have excellent route runners like Sterling Shepard, Isaiah Hodgins, even a Paris Campbell, Mike Groh, he can only get better by learning from these pros. Because think about it. If he's at Tennessee, he's your best receiver. You know, who's he learning from, right? Everybody's looking up to him. He's the guy. So now he's not the guy. He's going to learn how the NFL works. He can't run the fade every time. He can't run the go route every time. The NFL is going to take that away. he's going to have to learn, to polish up those other routes. And he will. There's no doubt. Give him time. He's going to get better.
Here's the thing. Let's not one is there's a video, right? I watched it today because I was kind of curious on what you just said. I'm like, why has this cat got a reputation that he can't run, why can't he run slants and digs and curls and comebacks and stop and goes? Like, why can't he do that?
He doesn't have to.
well, that's where I was going.
Oh, really? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like the Tennessee offense doesn't really require him to do a whole lot of that. You know what I mean? Like it's not their game. Whatever it is, don't get me wrong. I'm sure I could look it up. Someone will put it in the chat in a second, wherever the offensive coordinator is at Tennessee. It's not the game plan. That's not how they run the Tennessee offense. Hooker's dropping dimes, down the field for him. So, let him burn if Hooker's going to make the throws. And we all know that was a pretty good dynamic duo. But there is a video right now, like today, there is a video out there, him running a bazillion routes, double moves, stick routes, stop and goes, comebacks, drags, digs, all of them. There's a video on there. He's just showing he can do it. Like whether that video was recorded at his pro day or I don't know where it was recorded or when it was recorded, but I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised that yes, he has more ability than just the 9 route to go.
Yeah, and last thing, guys. I mean, we all give Sterling Shepard, some crap about coming back this year. They should just let him go. But I'll tell you, Coach Shepard, I'm going to call him Coach Shepard, when he starts, working out with Hyatt, Wyatt in the Hyatt in practice. I mean, Shepard's that kind of guy, man. He's going to help him. He's going to give him as much knowledge and help as he can to help a young kid like that. So I think Shepard being in that room with him is going to do wonders for him.
And I think that was also something he got from Odell. You know what I mean? Like Odell taught Shepard how to run great routes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was something that got passed down. Whether you like Odell or not, it's not the issue here. It's just that I think he realizes and Shepard does run great routes.
He does.
And he is the best downfield blocker we actually have.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if Hyatt can pick up how to run really smooth, put your foot in the ground type of routes and learn to block downfield,
wow.
He's going to be a starter on this team as a 1A, a 2, for the next 8 years. You know what I mean? So, no, that's cool. I love it. Let's keep rolling down the chart. He's my favorite, by the way. I was really excited about Hyatt. This one is unique right here. Okay, let's pop him up here. Bang. Round 4, Eric Gray, Oklahoma. Now, he's
actually, I think it's 5. Is it 5?
That's right. It was 5. Wait.
Yeah.
We didn't have a 4.
Traded our 4th for Hyatt, right?
Yep, because we moved. That's right. Look, I'm going to fix that so I don't look bad. And look what I can do. Just like magic, look what I can do.
Boom.
Wow, look at that.
That's what I do. All right, guys. Gray, not the biggest cat on the planet, right? Super shifty. Definitely can slash. Definitely has put the foot in the ground, full speed in 2 steps type of guy. Can really move. Was kind of like, all right. So I think Barkley's coming back. Is this an opportunity where if Barkley didn't come back, would he get where's his opportunity, basically? Chris, I'll start with you on this one. What is his real opportunity, on the New York Giants? With or without Barkley, is it him and Breida battling it out? Is he going to get packaged up?
It's going to be him. It's going to probably come down to him and Brightwell. Because you see the shiftiness, the catching the ball out of the backfield. He hits the hole very fast. He doesn't have that other gear. He doesn't have the extra gear, but he hits the hole hard. He did return a few punts and kicks. I don't think that's his thing. He has the 4.6 speed. He's actually, I think, muffed a few punts in his day, so I don't think we want him back to returning punts. But I think he's going to be the guy to challenge Brightwell for that 3rd spot.
Okay. Yes, I like that. I wasn't even thinking about that. That's why you get paid the big bucks, dude. Wasn't even remotely thinking about Brightwell. In fact, Brightwell was probably the last thing I was thinking about. And now I'm like this. Oh, Brightwell's toast. Like,
Yeah.
right? Like, isn't that just like
You don't draft a guy. You don't draft a guy and then like expect him not to take those carries away from him. Maybe he doesn't initially, but by the end of the season, like Brightwell's going to be fourth on the depth chart or cut or on practice squad or whatever he is.
Yeah,
maybe practice.
Yeah,
squad.
I'm sitting here like thinking like I thought I was prepared, but evidently I'm not. I had him in the 4th round when it was the 5th round, and I didn't even remember Brightwell because he's non-existent.
It's April. It's okay.
because he does nothing. Like, I'm seriously like, man, I'm excited for Eric Gray. Alex, like, I don't know how much Oklahoma ball, but it's out your way. So I was wondering, like, how much, do you get it? Do you ever watch them? Do you know? And if you don't, that's cool too. But just wondering, like, any inside feeling on Gray, like, what you're hearing? Because I mean, you are out the Oklahoma, Texas way.
Yeah, I don't really have any inside info on him. I mean, I looked at the highlights, like I think everybody else did after we drafted him, and like you were saying, like he doesn't have that second gear to hop into. But I mean, I don't know. Like, if something were to happen to Saquon, God forbid, like. I feel like I would rather have Gray almost start games than Breida because I feel like he would be a better option as a 1 than I think Breida's like he's a 2. I don't know why. Like I feel like we should start Gray at 3 no matter what. But like if something were to happen, I would not want Breida to be our number 1.
Oh, interesting. Like, how did you feel when Barkley went down with Gallman as 1? Were you okay with that?
I thought Gallman was going to do a lot better than he did, and I feel like there were times that he showed like why he was not a number 1 running back in the NFL, and I feel like I don't know. I feel like the Giants are going to like what Buffalo did with Dable was they had that running back by committee thing. They didn't really commit too much to a running back. He got in a really unique situation where you have a guy like Saquon there, so like if they can work something out with that, that's awesome. But I also feel like let's have a couple guys ready to go just in case something happens. Saquon does have a history of injury. If we have to go RBC, then like now we've got some more guys there in the backfield instead of just relying on Brightwell, Breida, and whoever else we would bring in.
All right, I'm no fashion expert. Now I know, Alex, you've got some fashion tips that you've been giving out, back skirts and stuff like that. This is not about women's fashion.
Right.
I should have downloaded the photo. See, again, I am you know what? The draft just took it out of me. It just took it out of me.
It's 3 whole days.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm unprepared. So there is a photo out there of Eric Gray wearing a Lawrence Taylor jersey backwards. Okay? So he's got, the Taylor here. So is that like a thing, Alex? Like wearing the jersey backwards? Or is that just like, I don't know. Is that him? Maybe that's him. I don't know. Like, is there anything I'm missing here with the wearing
Wasn't
the jersey
it like
backwards?
early 2000s, late 90s? Like, I thought that was like rap fashion then. Like they
that was crisscross.
Yeah. Right? Like you'd have the sideways hat too. Like you gotta have the backwards jersey, sideways hat. That's what I thought. You probably wear the backpack on your chest also. Yeah, I don't know. Like,
well, technically, though, just so you know, Alex, because you're a young dude, middle school kids still wear their backpacks on their front because they're wearing 2 backpacks. They wear their regular backpack, and then the one on the front is the athletic backpack, the one where you got whether if you're a baseball player or a lacrosse player, like, so you wear the other backpack on the front when it's stuffed all with your athletic gear.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. Just throwing that at you. So
yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to figure out.
We always had to carry around in one bag.
Yeah, no, the books and the computer are in one backpack, and then your cleats, your glove, your stick, your whatever you're balling with, your basketball. These kids don't wear theirs. They have basketball sneakers in them, the sneakers they wear to school. So they rock certain shoes that they put on the court that they don't wear anywhere else. So
you want to scuff them up. You don't want to mess up
stuff them up. All right,
soles.
Because I'm freaking old. So what the hell do I know? But I have kids that do it, so I see it all the time. All right. So yeah, we're gonna have to look up crisscross. Yes, Darius, I know you're 31, and I'm like 40 years older than you. I get it. All right. So, I mean, look, I think all in all, Gray's going to be a nice player. Again, I hope he puts a little bit of weight on, but you're right. He doesn't have that breakaway speed. But listen, Tiki Barber came in as a small 2nd round scat back, right? And then look what he did. All All right, this one's very interesting. Trey Hawkins the third, okay, from Old Dominion. I am not overly happy with this, only for one reason. I love that it's a DB. I love that he's Dable said, or Shane said today in a press conference that he doesn't shy away from tackling. Good tackler.
Mm-hmm.
It's an Old Dominion thing, dude. Like we have Shane, Shane Zimenez, I think is still on the roster.
No, he's gone. He's gone.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
we had to replace him. We had to get another ODU person.
There you go. There's your Old Dominion filler.
Yeah, so I'm not overly enthused by the ODU thing because in the history of the school, ready? They've had 3 players get drafted, and we drafted 2 of the 3. So I'm not overly.
But Craig, it's round 6. It's round 6.
I know.
All right. He would have been an undrafted guy and got paid by somebody else, and somebody else would have got him. So think of it that way. You're able to grab him.
All right, Chris, I'm going to give this to you. Tell me about Trey Hawkins the third.
I don't know too much other than he's got some speed, right? He's like a 4.4 speed. So he could be, you're going to see him maybe on specials, depth chart as a DB. But what I love about him is he had 75 tackles. He actually wraps up and makes the tackle. And that's something that we see across the NFL. Guys, they throw shoulders in, right? This guy actually will wrap up and make the tackle. So 75 tackles at Old Dominion. So you know what? If he makes it at the back end of the roster for specials and is a depth piece, at that 6th spot at corner, hey, I'm all for it. This isn't a guy that's going to start, but it's a guy that's going to, make his way to try to make the team. A practice squad, right? He could be a practice squad candidate. So no problem with it.
That was pretty That's pretty good, Chris. You just totally sold me on him. Now I'm like, oh, yeah, all right. Boom. I love it. 75 tackles out of a corner. Yeah, you don't see that, right? So
it shows you that Old Dominion's linebackers are terrible. They're all getting to the secondary.
That too.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to keep it this silver
lining. But that's good for him. He had a lot of opportunity.
Go ahead, Alex. You got an opinion on Mr. Trey Hawkins III?
Well, I saw that they were just talking about his tackling, and I'm not the Giants have struggled to do that in the past recently. So anybody that can make some tackles, that's going to be awesome on special teams. That's really going to come in handy. He's definitely a project kind of guy. I feel like he could be somebody that you also could transition to safety too if you need him for depth there as well. Just he seems like a guy that could just kind of play any position in that defensive backfield. And this year, I don't know how much he's going to get playing time wise, depending on injuries and everything. But I feel like in the future, he could be a guy we see as just a regular depth rotation kind of guy. I don't know if he's ever going to start, but yeah, I think he's always if you can make tackles and you're a phezical defensive back, you're gonna play in the NFL eventually, right?
And I'm looking
you're gonna keep yourself on a roster.
And I'm looking it up now. He's over 6'2". So
yeah, he's a big dude.
That's a big dude. Either convert him to safety or like you said, just a lot of athletic ability at 6'2", playing corner and still be able to get upfield and make 70-something plus tackles is impressive. So I like it. Again, I'm not hot on the ODU thing. That whole Virginia Beach thing is a little weird anyway. But that's cool. It's all military and then got a lot of gangs and stuff there. I don't know. I don't like the ODU thing, but hey, got to give the guy a chance. It's still, imagine he turns out to be a stud and they move him to free safety or something and he becomes a ball hawk. It'd be crazy, right? All right, next one is round 7. Mr. Owens out of Houston. I did look at some tape on him and he looked like a baller. He really did. He just looks like he's a captain. He's got a good command of the defense. Alex, any thought on what you see out of Owens? Because, we needed some safety help with Love being gone.
Right. Yeah. This is another just depth draft pick, I think, as well. He's consistent. He's not going to knock your socks off or anything, but he's a guy that let's add another body there. That's what the Giants have struggled with the last 2-3 years with just all right, well, we had one injury and now that just completely wrecked us at this position. We now are actually we got some guys that we can start and now we're kind of all right, well, here's another quality guy. He's not starter caliber, I don't think, but yeah, this is a special teams kind of guy. This is a guy that's going to add that depth to our secondary. So now we're not just running on 3 guys having to cover the entire backfield. You know,
that's a great point because we were looking at Pinnock, Belton, you know, injury XMC and what do you call it? Chris, what was the other guy they brought in that's going to challenge for the starting spot? Why do I always forget his name?
Bobby McCann, the safety.
McCann. I don't know why I can't. I keep forgetting that cat's name. So it's good to add another body there at safety. And like we already said with Hawkins, you never know. He might actually play a little safety. Remember, Julian Love was a safety / corner at Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
So you never know what happens there. But you're right, Alex. Chris, same thing. You don't see him ever as like kind of a starter material, but maybe it's packaged up.
Yeah, I see him probably practice squad. I mean, I think we're going to be loaded at safety. I think he's a missile, right? He hits pretty well.
Yeah.
I think the negative on him is that he doesn't tackle well. I don't think he doesn't wrap up from what I've read. Is that he throws a lot of shoulder in? You know, he does track the ball well. I'm sorry.
He's very Roy Williams-y.
Oh,
he
yeah,
the big hit,
right.
But he might just whiff on it.
Yeah. So I think he could be a practice squad candidate, and let him grow and mature on the practice squad, get experience.
All right, this one interests me a little bit because I loved how Shane described him. He's like, when you see this man in person, he's just a really big human, you know. So like. We've got now Nacho and Deshaun Robinson, and of course the two horses of Dexter and Leo. Jordan Riley, right? Like we've over the years we've had guys, you know, that were depth pieces that came in and make plays. Chris, any feeling on Jordan Riley? I mean, he is an enormous man.
6'5", 338, bounced around a few schools, started at North Carolina, then went to Nebraska, then junior college, and then finally ended up at Oregon. So he's not a pass rusher. You're not going to get any type of pass rush out of him. What you will get is you're going to get double teams. You're going to get him clogging up the middle in that the one technique, which is over that center, and you're going to let those linebackers run free, right? So if the other linebacker opposite side, Okereke, isn't the greatest, you'll actually have him make some plays in the gap because this guy's going to take up two defenders. You know, who knows? He fits right in the rotation with Nacho, with Leo,
Robinson.
Deck, and obviously Robinson. So, you know, I don't know how many, you know, defensive linemen they're going to carry, but, you know, maybe he has a shot to make the team. He's a run stopper, and that's what this team needs. So,
Alex, any thought that Kayvon said, hey, coach, you should really take a look at this guy, or hey, you know what? I played with him. I really think he's got value. You think any of that comes into play?
I would imagine that he offered some sort of insight. You know, like if your coaches are looking at somebody potentially, like I'm sure they're asking, like, what do you know about him? You know, like what are your thoughts on him? And I don't know if he was the reason that he got drafted, but I think that he offered some insight. I saw that interview that you were talking about with Shane, and it just seemed like Shane, like this seemed like somebody that he like was just the most excited about almost. Where he was like, he's just a big dude, and like. He was just kind of like beaming when he was talking about him, like a proud father talking about his son. And like this guy, I think is a project guy that they're going to work through for the next couple of years. But like when you see like we signed Roches, whatever his name is, Nacho, and then we have Eshawn. But like those guys are like temporary fixes right now. This guy seems like somebody that maybe they're building towards like the future. They let him kind of get some reps, learn from the vets. But like all we talked about last year is how many snaps that Dexter Lawrence was playing. And like when you have a guy like Jordan Riley, hopefully he's one of those guys that can make Dexter Lawrence not have to play every freaking play on defense where he's just worn out by the end of a game, and then you can have him fresh when you're trying to stop somebody in the fourth quarter. I do want
to defend myself here. Cold is killing me in the comments that I butchered Ashawn Robinson's name. I did not butcher his name. I said Ashawn Robinson, unless there's some other pronunciation.
Is it Ashawn?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know how else should I say it. Cold, cut me some slack. Ashawn Robinson. How did I butcher that one? I might have butchered Banks' first name. I might have added a D in there instead of a T by accident. But Ashawn Robinson, I got that. Come on, let's go. What do you call it? Anyway, so I'm done with you, Cold. I'm throwing you to the wind and all the rest of you nut jobs in here, which, by the way, thanks for watching another episode of Giants Rush. We love to support you guys. I mean, I see there's like 40 of you guys coming in and out of the room, which is super cool. I'll read. I love.
Hey, Craig, can I jump in real quick? Mark
Yeah.
made a comment that I never wear the glasses over the eyes. Not to get into this whole thing, but I picked up new contact lenses. It's called monovision. Real quick. Excellent. It allows your dominant eye to be for distance and uses your weaker eye for reading. So I have these as a backup just in case, because I just got them and they actually work pretty well.
Wait, so
I
you're
will
wearing
say-
lenses and your glasses are on your head?
Just in case, because sometimes it's I just got them a couple days ago. So this is my backup quarterback right here, Mark, in case things aren't working out right.
I'm
But
sorry.
monovision, I highly
sorry.
recommend it for anybody that wears contact
It's
lenses.
really
and needs-
funny though, because like you look. So look, right? I got glasses, right?
Yep.
But I have no reason to wear them here. I have no reason. Look, if I had my contacts in, which I do,
Yeah.
I would just do this. I would put them there, and if I needed them, I'd go, hey. Oh, yeah, that says Sean Robinson. And
Hey,
then I
Mark,
would
another
put them
5
down.
years with Craig. I'll be wearing them like this. Don't worry. Like doing, the back and forth with it on the
See,
nose.
this is why you people watch this show. Every
Can't get
month.
anything by these guys. Oh my God.
I know, exactly. We're old and broken. All right. Ripping on through, we talked Owens, we talked Riley. I mean, that's overall, your 2023 draft pick. How about this, guys? And this is not about being negative. I hate being negative. Just wanted to find out, Alex, was there anything that you were disappointed in? And again, it's okay to be disappointed. I mean, it's natural, and it's not a negative play. I'm just wondering, like, was there anything you were like, really? Or you know what? Maybe we could have doubled down here on something else. Is there anything that you think might still be like a hole?
I mean, obviously you could like nitpick at any of this stuff, I guess. But I guess like if you had to be nitpicking, I would have said like maybe we could have got some more offensive line depth or somebody else to maybe compete for one of those backup spots, maybe another starter spot if there was anybody of value that way. But linebacker too would probably have been another one. I just don't know if there was anybody ready to go then,
That was mine. And that was mine, Chris. I don't know if you have anything. That was mine. I was a little like, hey, look, I know McFadden's going to get a good opportunity to win that job. So thankful that Jalen Smith has moved on. I hope that he doesn't surprise us and somehow spring himself into camp somehow.
Like
he does every year. I mean, Okereke is a beast. And everyone, I tweeted that out today, and everybody was like, oh, Beavers. I'm like, look, yes, an ACL can be 9 to 12 months, but everybody heals different. We have no idea how he's going to – August will be a year, right? Mm-hmm. So mentally is one thing, physically is another. We have no idea what Beavers is going to be able to do. And he was, like we're talking about with Owens, Hawkins, and Riley, Beavers was a 6th-round pick, maybe a 7th-round pick now that I say it. I can't remember if he was 6 or 7.
6, I think.
Yeah. So I know he was having a great camp, and I love Beavers. I hope he rocks it. The 0 thing weirds me out, but I can't bank on him coming back, right, and being healthy and ready to go. So you're and Davis isn't the guy. The guy's not a starter. He's a depth piece. He's not a starter. I thought, to Alex's point, maybe. In that 4th round, maybe we go backer here and let somebody compete against McFadden. So then I started moving on, Chris, to like, what? Guys are going to get cut, and there's going to be some UDFAs. Any thought here on what maybe – and it doesn't have to be linebacker. Anything that you were a little disappointed in? Or
No, I agree with you. I thought they'd add a linebacker maybe at round 7. But then again, I mean, they added some, guys in undrafted free agent. But like to your point, Craig, I mean – every team is going to have 90 players going into training camp. You're going to see 1,200, 1,300 guys on the street. Guys are going to get cut, salary cap. There are a few guys out there. So just like we saw last year, that roster constantly evolving and changing throughout training camp into the first week. Guys are going to come and go. And I think they're going to add a veteran. It would be my guess at that linebacker spot at some point.
I also really like Troy Brown, the Ole Miss UDFA that we brought in. I think that he's somebody that will fit well with Wink Martindale's system. I don't know why I feel like I bet on Ole Miss a lot this past year, so I feel like I watched a lot more Ole Miss games than usual. But I do I feel like he was always seeing him out there making plays. So I don't know, he seemed like a ball hawk and like somebody that Wink's gonna like it. I don't know if he makes the final roster or anything, but like he's somebody that kind of excites me and has some upside.
Yeah, because you had skin in the game, and he might have won you a couple games with some tackles. Is that what you're saying?
Just I remember him. Yeah, maybe I was mad at him, or maybe I was rooting for him, but I can't remember. I just feel like
And just remember, with these cuts, there's 16 players on the practice squad, so there's enough room for a lot of these guys when they clear waivers and get cut to be added. So, I think that other linebacker spot is definitely going to be they don't lose focus on it. I have confidence in Shane, Dable, Wink that they're going to find somebody opposite Okereke.
All right, so I've got one more topic I'm going to get through. But first, I want to remind everybody, Rush Hour, which is Nikki Sixx's show on Wednesday. We're going to move from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And the legend, Danny B, is going to be her producer. So you're going to see Danny every Wednesday with Nikki Sixx as we are on a search for a co-host for that show. It is dedicated to fantasy football. We have 3 leagues, people. Listen to me now so you get your spot. There will be 3 leagues, 3 Rush leagues. One is the Baller League. That's a paid league that you're going to be able to win some cash. Then there's going to be the Rookie League, which is going to be the free league for some of you folks that are maybe new to fantasy, or maybe you haven't played in a while. And then there's going to be the All Women League. We're going to have all the girls. And if the word girls or ladies offends you, I'm sorry. Like, this is what we do. So I don't do the he, she thing. So all the ladies are going to have their own fantasy league. So excited for that one. So we'll have 3 leagues. And then, of course, on this coming Wednesday, just ready for this, Nikki and Danny are going to do draft grades for the NFC East. They're bringing in some Eagles people. They're bringing in some Commanders people. And they're bringing in some Cowboys folks. So if you're really looking to mix it up, right, with the NFC East people, you want to do a little bit of this, tune in at 8 o'clock to Rush Hour on Rush Twitter and Rush YouTube channel. So you can watch us mix it up with the NFC East. And we all know that the Eagles had a great draft. It is what it is. But we're going to do Nikki and Danny are going to do draft grades. That should be a lot of fun. All right, gentlemen, last topic of the night before we blow it out is the wide receiver room is really deep. Like, we went from having 2 receivers to having 22 receivers. I'm going to read a list. Alex, I'm going to write, you know what? Let me get a pen because I'm going to write down what you say, and then I'm going to hold it over your head when the season comes. It'll be fun.
Great.
Yes. But that's what we do here. This is like I said,
right.
This is like a test for you to become part of the Rush family. All right.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to read off. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to read off 12 names. You're going to tell me, you're going to say starter, practice squad, cut, or should I go depth piece?
Depth,
No, we'll just do R for roster.
Okay.
So, all right.
Okay.
So
how many are allowed to make the roster?
What's that?
How many am I letting make the roster?
It
just doesn't
that's up to you.
Okay.
So I got S for starter, P, S for practice squad, C for cut, and R for roster, meaning they're on the roster because they're playing some special teams.
How about a returner? I was gonna say, all right, special teamer. Okay.
Yeah.
Special teamer plays, yeah.
All right,
okay.
and then Chris, I'm going to come right to you.
All right.
You get paid the big bucks with your 4 eyes. Sure. All right. Let's start off with Pat. Let's start off Alex Paris, free agency pickup.
I feel like he will be like a slot receiver too. I would personally start him in the slot initially, but I'm going to say a slot receiver like 2, like depth. He's depth.
All right, I'm giving him an S for a start because he'll be one of the, put it this way. You got 4 starters, 5 starting wide receivers on a team, right?
Okay, so he'd be 4 then.
Yeah. Okay. Shepard.
I think he's wide receiver 1, right? This is like, do you just run that back? It's either him or Slayton. It's got to be, you'd think, right?
So you're giving him an S? You got to tell me.
I think, he's wide receiver 1. Wide receiver 1.
This is the part of the show where I can't help you.
Okay, wide receiver 1.
Yeah, like I said, this is part of the show where like there's like you're out in the ocean and like Jaws is kind of circling you, and you're like Craig, and I'm like this. I'm sorry. All right, Hodgins.
This is a tough one because he's right on the edge. I feel like he gets that third slot. So let's throw him in an S right now, at least to start the season.
All right, Smith came from the Jets.
I feel like he's either depth or cut. I'm leaning towards just put him on like practice squad or roster spot.
Okay, so that means he makes the team playing some special.
Makes the team, yeah.
All right, Crowder.
He's either the last receiver to make the roster with Smith, or I don't know. I feel like he's gonna get cut. I think there's too many guys, and he's too big a name.
Okay. Wow. Cutting the Buffalo guy.
I think Crowder's gonna maybe not make it.
Okay. Sills.
He's cut or practice squad.
Yeah, we've been trying to cut that cat for like years.
Wasn't he the guy that like Lane Kiffin gave a contract to or gave like a scholarship to when he was like 14?
Yes. As a quarterback, by the way.
Yeah.
All right. Slayton.
I think he's wide receiver too, starter.
Okay.
Going into the season, at least. It's his job to lose.
All right. Wan'Dale Robinson.
He's depth, but he could definitely earn his way into a starting role, I think.
So you want to give him an S or you want to give him an R for roster?
Roster to start the season.
Because he's hurt still, right? Makes sense.
Coming off the injury, yeah.
All right, this one's a wild card because this guy, and Chris loves this guy, he had the best camp last year, Colin Johnson.
I just think there's too many more guys this year. I love Colin Johnson, but I think that's such a big room of receivers. I think he's one of the odd men out.
So you're not even practice squad him? You're cutting him?
Let's go. Oh, you could get practice squad. Okay, practice squad works. He seems like a guy that would hang around on a practice squad. I don't think Crowder would hang around on a practice squad.
No, someone would scoop him up.
Right.
Bryce Ford Wheaton, that's brand new UDFA, right? Hot off the press.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got like a lot of upside, I think, but I don't see him making the roster. Practice squad at best for him.
So you want to cut him or you want him on the practice
He's probably
squad?
cut. He's cut.
All right. Pimpleton.
Practice squad.
Polk. I don't even know anything about Polk. That was Chris's guy.
Cut.
Okay. And last but not least is our new one, of course, is Jalen Hyatt.
He's depth to start the season. Depending on how he develops, I think he's going to be used for sure. But yeah, he's depth.
So we'll give him an R for roster.
Roster spot.
All right. So you have
I like everybody on the team.
3, 4. 1, 2, 3. You have 4. So you have 4/5 starters. You cut 1, 2, 3. You cut 4 guys. 4 cuts. Starters. Practice squad, you only took 2 practice squad guys. Roster, and then roster guys, which are special teams and could be starters. You went 1, 2, 3. So you got 3 roster guys. All right, interesting. I'm holding this because we're going to look back at it. All right, Chris, you are up in the driver's seat. Not bad from Alex. He was pretty concise on his picks. All right, Chris, starting at the top. What do you got for Paris?
I think he starts.
Okay, so you got him as a starter. What about Shepard?
I think he's going to be he'll be on the PUP list maybe in the beginning. So I'll say roster. He's on the roster, but he's not starting.
Hodgins.
I think Hodgins starts the season off as a starter. He knows the system well.
Yeah, and by the way, remember he came in the season middle, 8 games in, 7 games in, whatever. So this will having a full year under his belt, we can only expect more from him, right? Smith picked up from the Jets.
I think Smith is either cut or he goes to practice squad.
You got to choose one.
Okay, I think he gets cut.
All right, Sills.
Cut.
Crowder.
I think because Wan'Dale and Shepard may be on the mend, I think Crowder starts in the.
Ooh. Okay. Slayton.
I think he's on the roster.
Oh, you're going wrong. You're thinking he's going to go from a starter to just a roster guy?
Well, he started as default because of all the injuries. I think Hodgins starts over him. I think you have Campbell, Crowder, Hodgins starting out. And, I hate to say starter because, every couple plays, these guys are rotating. You're going with 4 wide 3. But, yeah, he's on the roster. He's going to get his playing time.
Hey, listen, we got to be entertaining, right?
Yeah, I know. He's on the roster.
All right, Wan'Dale Robinson.
Starting out, he's going to be on the roster because he's coming off injury.
Yep, that's exactly what Alex said. All right, Colin Johnson.
Colin Johnson, I believe, is on the roster, but when you look at the list, I think he's in danger of being let go once Wan'Dale and Shepard are ready. So I'll say roster in the beginning of the season. He's borderline.
Bryce Ford Wheaton.
Practice squad.
Pimpleton.
Cut.
Polk.
Cut.
And Hyatt.
Roster.
Wow. So all right, so you went with.
And real quick, if Johnson's eligible for practice squad, I think he'll be put on practice squad at some point.
For Colin Johnson?
Yeah. Once Shepard and Wan'Dale come back, they may have to put him on practice squad.
So you got 1, 2, 3. You only have 3 starters for the record.
Well, are we going with 3 receivers or 4? Because I'm primarily looking.
They rotate, so you're usually at 4, sometimes 5, right? As guys that are playing in those packages.
Okay.
So you went with 3 starters.
I'm looking at 2 outside and a slot. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah. In that theory, I'm looking at like it's usually 5, right? 2, because you got the rotation at the X, the rotation at the Y, the rotation at the Z. But so you go, so your biggest move was
Craig. I only went with that because when you look on the Giants depth chart, they listed as usually the 2 wides and then the slot guy.
I just doubled it for position.
Okay, I got you. Okay,
because think about it. We
do have a lot of slot guys.
Yeah, a lot of slot guys. Like right now, if everyone was healthy, right? If everyone was healthy, I think Campbell could probably play inside and outside, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But Shepard, Smith, Crowder, Robinson, there's 4 or 5 slot guys on this team.
Yeah, there are. But if you remember what Hodgins said on the interview, what Dable and Kafka's offense, they move guys around so much. Hodgins didn't even really like to say, specify slot outside because these guys are always looking for mismatches and interchanging. So I know it looks like on paper we have a lot of slot, but I think when you see the season start, you're going to see guys moved around so much. You're probably going to be surprised we see some of our slot guys on the outside just because of the formation and what the play calls.
My biggest surprise, and we'll wrap it up with this. My biggest surprise is Crowder because he's a Buffalo guy and they know what he can do. You both, Alex cut him, and you went the opposite route, Chris, and you actually think he's going to start.
Well, we may be going without Wan'Dale and Shep in the beginning of the season, so he's going to be my slot guy. Then that's who sees what happens after that, but yeah, only because of those injuries.
I wrote it down.
Okay,
we will come back and look at it. What do you call Paris has a ton of upside. Yeah, Jay, he totally has a ton of upside. I think Paris is a guy that literally, can play inside and outside. I think he can, and Paris has got some pretty good speed, right? So to me, Paris is a guy that can take a slant to the house as much as he can, burn a guy down the sideline, catch a deep route, or catch a simple out on the sideline. I think Paris is actually going to be almost like Dominic Hickson used to be.
Let me pose a question to you guys and everybody in the room. Slayton didn't have a great training camp last year. He was borderline getting ready to be cut. They wanted to trade him. If he, with all these receivers, if he has a terrible training camp, do you think he's in danger of being cut?
I don't.
They just re-signed him, right? It was 2 years.
Yeah.
I think they're going to keep him for this year. They got the option to get out after this year. So I think that was kind of the fail-safe they had. And it's like, I feel like they also were like, right, we owe you for last year. We would have had 0 receivers for like 3 weeks of the season.
And he knows the system.
Right.
And again, he does have that tendency to drop a little bit of that.
Go invisible. Right.
But
Yeah.
I don't see it. Like, again, like I was letting you guys play along. The guys, to me, believe it or not, sadly, the one that sticks out for me is Shepard, because I don't know. He's hurt every year. It's a lot. I know he restructured. I know he took a lower contract. I know he's Coach Shepard, as you said, Chris. It's going to be tough to keep Shepard. You know what I mean? Like if I don't know, it's just tough. But I think I don't see a spot for Smith. I don't see a spot for Sills. I don't see a spot for Pimpleton. I don't see a spot for Polk. I think this team is basically going to be Hyatt and Slayton and Crowder, Hodgins, Shepard, and Paris. That's who I go with. I think my biggest disappointment, and I know I take a lot of crap for this, but I'm just not a Wandell fan. Not the person, that the player. I mean, he was hurt in the beginning of the year, and he got hurt at the end of the year. I just don't know. He's a small cat. So even if he comes back, I think he becomes kind of a depth piece, because I think guys like Shepard and Crowder can do the job.
Yeah. And think about Crowder. Crowder can return punts, so that becomes real valuable on this team. We need a punt returner.
Yeah, I was looking at somebody had a comment.
Not a Dory.
No.
Not a Dory.
No more.
No. All right, guys. Well, look, that's all I got. Thanks for watching another episode of Giants Rush every Monday. Rush hour, 8 o'clock, people, 8 o'clock. But do me a favor. You guys are always really good at supporting us and what we do here. Tell your Eagles fan friends. Does that even make – that's probably an oxymoron. You probably don't have any friends that are Eagles fans. But if you have any enemies or family members that you don't like that are Eagles fans, Dallas fans, or Commanders fans, just pass the word along. Just say, hey, dude, there's a really kick-ass show on Wednesday. They're going to do NFC East draft grades, and they're bringing people on. So, and of course, this show during the season, Rush Hour, which is our second show hosted by Nikki Sixx, it's all fantasy, and it's all sports gambling. So do yourself a favor. And if you're out there, all you guys live in different parts of the country. I got guys in here from Texas and Florida. I got Connecticut. I got the Caribbean, Mark. I got you guys are all over the place. Just do King Rush a favor and tell all your peeps. They're probably not your friends, like I said, but just let them know that Wednesdays Rush Hour is doing NFC East. And then each Wednesday, they're going to do another division and do draft grades. So they're going to get into it, and they'll be probably mixing it up a little bit. That's Alex. That's Chris. You know me. I'm Craig. And I appreciate, once again, guys, last week was awesome. 2 straight days, Thursday, Friday, live, 45 guests over 2 days. Kicked ass. It's kind of fan appreciation night. It's not deep analysis, but it gives us a chance to hang out with you. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.